Hello, my name is Casey Soberanis, and today we are going to talk about mandated reporting. First, we want to figure out what is a mandated reporter. A mandated reporter is a person who is required by law to report any actual or suspected case of child abuse or neglect to the proper authorities. Who is a mandated reporter? Anyone in a profession that comes into contact with children is considered to be a mandated reporter. This includes, but is not limited to, educators, school staff, medical staff, and first responders. What are the different types of abuse and/or neglect? So we have physical abuse. This is any non-accidental physical injury to a child. There is sexual abuse. This is sexual assault or the sexual exploitation of a child. Next is emotional abuse. This is any behavior, action, or words that have a negative mental impact on a child. And then neglect is the failure of a guardian to provide food, shelter, clothing, or health care to the child that threatens their health, safety, or well-being. So with physical abuse, that's hitting, punching, kicking, burning. Sexual abuse, we have that right there, sexual assault. Emotional abuse can be name calling or telling a child that they're not enough or they're stupid or things like that. And then neglect we have right there as well. So how do we identify the child abuse and or neglect now that we know what they are? With physical abuse, we want to look out for frequent and unexplained injuries or bruises. And look out for students who are afraid to go home or are always on high alert. They're always afraid that they're going to get harmed. With sexual abuse, we want to look for students who have trouble walking or sitting, students who know about or show an interest in sexual acts, or students who avoid a specific person without any reason. With emotional abuse, we want to look out for students who are fearful, withdrawn, or anxious about doing something wrong. These students may show behavior such as being really aggressive or super passive, or they can just even be really demanding. With neglect, we want to look out for students who are not dressed appropriately, whether it be in clothes that do not fit or clothes that are not appropriate for the weather. We also want to be aware of bad hygiene in students as well as untreated illnesses and injuries. And lastly, for neglect, we want to pay attention to those students who are often late or missing altogether from school. What are the obligations of a mandated reporter, and how do we report child abuse and or neglect? Once child abuse is suspected, as a mandated reporter, you are required by law to report it. The report can be made over the phone, but also needs to be followed up in writing. To report abuse, you must contact an appropriate law enforcement agency. This can be the local police department or Child Protective Services. What happens when you report? Will anyone know? What happens if you don't report? Once a report is made, there's going to be an investigation. If reported to the police, they are obligated to conduct an investigation. And then if needed, the case is going to be moved on to Child Protective Services because they will keep a record of that and they will also keep checking and looking into the child. If you must ever make a report against child abuse, you will have your name. You will have to give them your name. However, your identity will remain confidential. The report for the abuse is also confidential. If you suspect abuse and do not report it, you are guilty of a misdemeanor crime because you are a mandated reporter. The failure to report abuse may result in 6 months of jail time and oftentimes a $1,000 fee. If you suspect a child is being abused, report it. Here is the Riverside County Police Department number, the Riverside County Child Protective Services, and then also is the Child Help National Abuse Hotline. Thank you so much for your time.